Okay, we're gonna step through the process of installing a bladder bag product. And you can see once you take the lid off the pail, inside is a bag that has a connection point on it with a cap. I'm gonna leave the plug in so that we don't disturb the material at this point. The inductor for these is 2 layers. The bottom layer is designed to fit inside the pail. That essentially helps push the foil bag down as it moves. To install it, it's easiest to put the neck of the bag into the inductor. There's a retaining collar, and that collar slides into place. And it's nice and secure, holds the neck in place. For today's demonstration, we're not going to take the plug out, so we're not going to open the material container, but once it's connected, you can start installing the inductor into the pail. Again, we have to tuck all the flaps from the bottom layer into the pail. It can take a little time to get them all sitting inside the pail the way you want them. Another thing that can help is if you look at the hub that's above the inductor plate, has the retaining screws. If you need to, you can use a couple of screws, turn them in a ways, and that'll give you something more to hold on to. As I start to lower the inductor, I'm going to make sure that the flaps aren't folding over, that they're all still facing down. I think everything's sliding pretty freely now. So I'll take these screws back out so we can lower the hub onto the inductor. At this point, one thing is you need to make sure that the surfaces are clean if it's a pump that's been used. There is a rubber seal up here that helps to compress around the neck on the bag. So when you take your plug out and bring the hub down onto it, you'll need to make sure you got to get the holes lined up with the screws. Yep, I'm using the ram elevator control to raise and lower the pump and the hub here. I'm gonna try and work it around so it's nice and flat. All the screws are gonna go in straight. If I have, yep, I've got the holes lined up so the retaining screws are dropping right into place. So with a new bag and with the rubber seal in here that compresses a little bit, you might see a small gap here. You want to make sure these are good and tight so that it's actually compressing and basically pinching on the neck of the bag. It is possible that you might need to get a pair of pliers to put one final little quarter turn on these and make sure it's good and snug. If that doesn't happen, you can see material leak out of the crack around this hub. But if you got it tight, it should be nice and secure. So at that point, it's all assembled, and we can go ahead and put the ram in the down position. Actually, I'm going to wait on that until I'm ready to prime the pump. So in this example, we didn't take the plug out of the container, but normally that would be ready to flow up into the pump. And I would make sure that I'm ready to open the pump bleed valve and to get everything primed before I put the ram down and put the pressure on the bag. Now these are limited, so they're not putting as much pressure on this type of product since it's inside a bag. The downforce is a little bit more limited than it is on our standard grease pumps. But that's basically it. Put the ram in the down position, and then you can prime the pump and away you go. So I'm going to step back through that. reverse. So how we would take it apart. Loosen the screws. Now, when you normally take this apart, it would be down at the bottom of the pail. Since it's a bag and the bag is compressed and empty, you can raise it up out of the pail if you'd like. I'm just going to leave it at this level for now since we have a bag with product in it. Use the ram elevator lever to pick that hub up off. At this point, I'd like to get a handle on this so I can lift it out of the pail. Gonna put the screws in so I have something to pull on. I'm gonna push out this retaining collar. You'll oftentimes have some adhesive that comes out and gets into this area, so the collar might need to be tapped out with a hammer. My bag is nice and loose. This is free to move. Again, just for this example, we did not take the plug out of the material. That would not be there. It's very important when you are actually using your pump, you remember to take those plugs out. But that is the process. And that's how we do a bladder bag UV cure pail change.
That's a cut.
I should have sat on a stool.
Yeah, that probably would have been nice.
I'm not 25 anymore.